What's up, everybody? Welcome to a new week of Open Letters to a Survivor. I am one of your hosts tonight. I am James, just kind of dropping in, helping out a little bit here. I got the Queen Bee here, Cassandra Williams. How you doing over there, ma'am?
Evening, good evening. I'm good. How are you?
I'm outstanding. Very, very good show this week. The thing that I really love about working with you ladies is like you have everything lined up, and y'all been getting some really, really amazing guests. And this week is no different. So I'm really excited to keep things over to you. We have an amazing guest here on the show, and I've had some time to actually look her up and look at all of the stuff that she's doing. So that's why I'm just talking about how amazing she is, because I know she's sitting there looking like, how do you know what I got? I've been looking up and doing a little bit of research myself. So I think that she really has some amazing things going on. She's going to be tremendously helpful to the audience tonight, and people who have been watching have been getting so much, just in terms of healing from watching this show. So I think this week is going to be no different than any other. But our guest tonight is Mrs. I'm going to say LaShawndra Stewart. I know that you will let everybody else know all the details and everything else about her. But I'm just going to go ahead and kick it off to you. And just for anybody who's wondering, Kate Love is going to be popping in. Of course, one of us out of the many of us who are usually on this podcast will have technical issues. And we kind of just trade off every week. So this week is Kate Love's turn. So she's got some technical issues going on, but she's working that out. She's going to pop in any minute. And uh, oh Lord, Lady Poet. She's still on the beach somewhere. I'm just assuming she's still on the beach, but she's still having a good time. And she act like she's coming back, but then she be acting like she's too busy for us. So she'll be back in a couple
Girl,
of months, but we will
she
have
was.
Kayla. And I'm gonna kick things over to Cassandra, who's gonna get us going.
All right, all right. Welcome to our
And I got my
podcast.
mango juice. I tell you, I ran while that music was playing, so I got my mango juice in here. So.
All right, so James is ready. We are welcoming our guest tonight, Miss LaShawndra Stewart, as she's opening up our month on our mentor series. So welcome, LaShawndra, and thank you for coming on to the show. I'm going to get us started first with our open letter. So that'll be our Dear Survivor letter. And then we're going to come back and learn more about tonight's guest. So I'm going to go ahead and get us started. So every week we open up with our Dear Survivor letter. So here it is. Dear Survivor, if you didn't know before, then I want you to know now. I'm proud of you, and you are not alone. Surround yourself with a village of people who have your best interest at heart. Someone who has experience traveling the road you've traveled as you still continue to process the experiences you've survived. Not only can you seek therapy, but get a mentor. Your mentor can take more of a daily walk with you as you learn from someone who's where you want to be. As you share your story, you'll become more aligned with people who will support, guide, and direct you. Don't forget, in the midst of these people or others, they may know a mentor. A mentor will be a great asset to your personal village and healing journey. Take care and be well as you elevate along your journey. Sincerely, Lady Poet Speaks, K Love, the entire team of the Open Letters to a Survivor team, our guest tonight, LaShawndra Stewart, and me, Cassandra Williams. And so now, with that, we're going to go ahead and introduce tonight's guest, Miss LaShawndra Stewart, founder and CEO of Pumps and Pearls Women's Outreach. Good evening, LaShawndra.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. First and foremost, I want to thank you all for having me on the platform. Um, Thinking a little old me. You could have found anyone else, but thinking of little old me to come have me share my little spiel. I'm just a little girl from the hood, a little church girl from the hood that God saw fit to take me through a little trials and tribulations and to be able to pour into some other people. because I'm a firm believer that you have to go through in order to get through. That's just something that I stand on and something that I live on, something that I tell my girls. Everyone has to be coming from somewhere in order to go somewhere. I'm 28 years old, from the city of Cleveland. I grew up an only child on my mom's side. I was the eldest of now, it's 10 on my dad's side. I lost my brother to a traumatic car accident 8 years ago. I grew up in a single parent home, but I had a village. And that village was a lot because my mom was a teen mom. My mom had me at the age of 13. So she knew nothing about having a baby. It was a baby having a baby, truthfully speaking. Um, Again, born and raised in the church. So I was a church girl. All I knew was Jesus. Um, and coming out of the Cleveland Metropolitan School District, I graduated number 9 in my class from health careers at Martin Luther King back in 2013. I moved on straight on to college. Currently, I'm achieving my bachelor's in social work at Walden University, which I'm so close I could taste it. God, I'm ready to be done. I'm so close I could taste it. God.
Listen, I know that feeling, and I know what it tastes like too. So listen, I'm so happy for you just in that alone. Like, congratulations to you, because it is not easy. It's not easy at all. It's so
Absolutely.
much work that goes into it. And I didn't mean to cut you off, but when you said that, baby, that resonates. It resonates. So like, I get it. I know the feeling, and I know exactly what it tastes like, and it tastes good.
Me in a nutshell, I have a heart for people in general. My heart is tugged for women and children. I found that passion while I was going through my trauma, when after I lost my brother, and I was like, God, what are you doing with me? Because I was like, not, I was feeling like I needed to get some relief somewhere. And at that moment, I was not ready for grief counseling myself. And I'm not for sure if everybody realized, but you have to be ready. There are
Absolutely.
those sorts of things you have to be ready.
Correct.
And it was in my moment. And so I was like, God, what are you doing with me? And so prior to me really organizing Pumps and Pearls, I gather a group of my little cousins. I'm a firm believer that charity starts at home. I gathered a group of my little cousins, and I went and we reserved a room at a hotel, and I gathered a group of my little cousins and close family friends, and we started. I had a slumber party, and it was then when I'm like, what is happening here? I got all of these girls in one room, ain't no bickering, ain't no arguing. Is this really what I'm called to do? And we move forward, and I'm like, is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? And I'm gonna lie, I question God. Oftentimes we are told we're not supposed to question God, but
Okay. Are we having difficulties?
Can you hear me?
I'm sorry, I was on mute. Say that again, Cassandra. She might be having something going on now. I'll say go ahead, and you can keep on. She should pop back in any moment.
Okay. But oftentimes we're placed in, certain situations where we do question God, and we are in certain spaces, and we're not supposed to question God, but we are put in these unfamiliar places because it's uncomfortable.
Right.
We are like, okay, God, what is happening here? And so I then move forward to where I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna give it another try.
Right.
And so there were other events that we hosted, and other things where we brought women together. And most people think when you're bringing women together, it's just arguing and bickering. Women can't get along.
Yeah.
Because that was my interpretation. I don't get along with women. I don't like women.
Right.
Like, God, what are you doing?
And you
But
hear that from so many women,
many.
just in terms of different organizations, and I think really just working together in general. You hear of stuff like that. So it's really good to hear it from your perspective and to hear how successful you've been.
When I say I got so much strength off of that, being in my place of grief. Like, it just felt like it gave me so much strength, my brother. And so I went forward. We had events. We did little workshops. I did some one-on-one. We did several things. And boom, there was, let me see, it's been going on 2 years. I had an aunt that passed Christmas Day 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
I was getting ready to get dressed, and my grandmother called me. I have a grandmother that stays 2 doors down. She said, your aunt ain't looking right. So I ran out the house. I work at a hospital. I ran out the house. And of course, I began to perform CPR on her. Never in a million years would I have thought that I keep my CPR certification up to do this on the loved one.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, that was done and over with. So it was like I went from CPR to planning a funeral at that point. So I didn't have time to really process what had just happened.
Wow.
But a year later, when I realized, like, okay, I had started drinking a little more. I had started drinking a little too much for my liking. And I'm like, oh, I got to get some help. And I realized that, and I'm like, well, let me reel myself back in, because how can I pour into these girls and I'm pouring from an empty cup?
Absolutely.
And so I was like, okay, I gotta take a step back. So I took a step back for a while, and it was at that moment where I did take that step back, and I started to get myself in some therapy and grief counseling, in which I am in now. I'm currently still going to grief therapy. I said this might be a lifelong thing for me, and I'm okay with it.
That's the thing. And not to cut you off, but I think that's actually normal. That when you do any type of counseling, grief counseling, or just counseling in general, a lot of times it becomes a lifelong thing, because you start going through so many different things and you find yourself needing to kind of go back to that. Like, even with me, I didn't do grief counseling, but I went through a divorce, which
it's
was
grief.
It's still grief, but unexpectedly it was a nasty divorce.
Yeah.
I think like I kind of hit rock bottom, like in terms of depression and like all of this stuff. And it took a lot for me to finally, I think, realize that, okay, I really got to get some help. Like, what was that breaking point for you, to say, I got to go and get some help and I got to start counseling?
So
what your first step was?
So for me, because for one, I was a social drinker, so I didn't, and then for one, I didn't have to drink to have fun. Like, it was just that was too much for me. Not only that, I was not sleeping at night. I'm not an angry person. I was more angry. It was a lot. And so I was just like, wait a minute. Because here it is, I still have to work. I'm still in school. Life is just lifing. You know what I'm saying? It has to keep going on. And so in our culture anyway, realistically, we have to our life has to keep on, and with the grief.
Right.
And just to back up a little bit, when this go around with me finding a therapist, I had to realize that finding a therapist is like finding a church home. Because the first therapist that I came in contact with, she basically told me, take a leave from work, take a leave from school. I said, wait a minute, baby, you ain't for me. Because you have to understand the dynamics of an African American family. And that me taking a leave from work is gonna make me fall behind.
Yeah,
Me
yeah,
not taking a leave from school is gonna make me fall behind. So it was just me realizing, hey baby, this ain't for me. And so me realizing that me finding a therapist is like finding a church. I tell anybody that. And even when I move forward as far as, getting my degree and moving forward into that, hey, it's gonna be people. I might, hey baby, I might not be for you. And it's just that's just real. But
yes,
in me moving forward, I realized that this was not my pattern.
right.
Me not sleeping, me being angry. I'm not an angry person. I'm just a straightforward person. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just
Yeah,
gonna tell it what it is, and I'm gonna love you at the same time. I could cuss you out and smile at the same time, and that's just where it's at. But um, it was just becoming to be unbearable for me.
right.
But that was when I realized that was my moment. I said, well, let me give it another try.
Gotcha. And
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 so,
and,
go
and
ahead.
I was just gonna say, kind of to piggyback off of what you were saying in terms of finding that right person. In any type of counseling or when you're going to get some help, you have to like it's imperative that you find the right person, and it's a process because like even in my journey and going to counseling, the first person I had like I could have threw a brick at this lady. Like, and it's it is you have to find the right person. It's somebody that you feel comfortable talking to, somebody that you feel understands you and gets you and is not going to judge you. And I think above all else, you want to feel like it's not a job to them, like they really want to be there and like they really care about the situation.
Passion.
So it's a journey.
It is. It is. It is. And moving forward, like I said, as it's still a journey, because I'm still in therapy. Like I said, it's just it may be. I mean, it may be in there the rest of my life. I just told my therapist like, hey, I'm gonna be on this job for a while, and that's all right with me. But
Absolutely.
it's what I have to do for me. Like I feel like that's a part of my self care at this point. Like I go get my nails done,
Uh,
and that's uh and
okay,
that's
we
just how I have now incorporated that into my routine. Like it's just important.
yeah. Now I think that's amazing. Kudos to you for even taking the step to get the help because so many people even recognize it and they don't take the next step to go and get help, and then it's like it compounds and compounds and it gets worse and it gets worse, and then it's like they may ultimately start getting help, and then it seems like that help is not working because they took too long. And so kudos to you for even recognizing that, hey, I'm really not an angry person and I'm not mad all the time and I'm drinking too much and I can see it, and let me go get some help. Um, like that's the biggest thing, in the very beginning is to actually get some help, to recognize the problem and then do something about it. So kudos to you, major kudos to you for doing that piece of it. Like your service, that's well, I think first of all, I would love for you to get into the services of, the services that you offer with your program.
Absolutely. So again, girls, women outreach ministry. Well, I because for me it was something God dropped inside of me. God birthed. Because again, I said I was looking at women like, hold on, God, what's going on? Um, um, it's mentoring, one to one and group. We do. I typically check in with my girls, and then I don't stipulate the age because we've had anywhere from 3 to 73. Like
Oh,
on. So I've had events where older women. I've had events with younger girls. Um, lately getting back started up after I took my grief break. I'm starting it back up with my younger girls, and I'm gonna build it back up. And incorporate everybody pretty soon. It's like a chain, but the plan is to get back feeding the homeless. We've done social outings and gatherings, the girl. I just took the girls to Kalahari back in July. Um, we've done tea parties. We've done lemonade and paints. We've done so many things to get the girls to engage with each other and to realize they're worth more than the world may say. And each gathering, I always um, give the girls a set of principles and a set of things that they can take within the rest of their lives. Like
Absolutely.
it's always a learning experience. It's always something that they can always take within the rest of their lives.
Absolutely.
It's not nothing that just because we was at Kalahari having a good time, but the girls still learned something.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't just we had Kalahari splashing and throwing water on each other. It was
Right.
still something they can learn and take from that. With anything I do, it's a lesson, and with anything I do is purpose. But it's creating sisterhood, so ensuring that the have a bond and those sorts of things. It's pretty much where I am, being an only child on my side and the oldest of now 10 on my dad's side. On my dad's side, we are not all as close. I was closer with my cousins on my mom's side. So it's creating sisterhood for me.
Yeah.
And um, I was just explaining to someone yesterday, the pump in the name represents the understanding of what someone's else experience was. And the pearl represents the link as to how we're going to come together to help the next person through it. And so we all are going to come together and create this line of pearl. And whoever is in that middle, being that pump, will help you through. Because guess what? Everybody is going to have that chance to be in the middle. Because guess what? We all go through something. And so, it's just it's to create that safe place for our girls and women. And that's just where, oftentimes we don't have a safe place. I have girls that maybe can't speak about certain things at home and or have even anyone to talk to, and that's where they come to me. And it's a safe space. So that's just where, the environment that, we've created.
Okay. So I'm gonna pass it on to the ladies, so that they can get some airtime and some questions in there.
All right. Thank you so much. So sorry. Disappeared, but I'm back. So thank you again, LaShawndra, for sharing your story. It's really going to touch a lot of people because they have to understand as well, not only that there's a purpose for mentorship, but there's a purpose for the development of it, right? It's born from a place. And
Yeah.
so we're thankful for the organization that you were obedient enough to go ahead and create for those who need it because it's in obedience. And you said God placed it within you. You could have ignored it and said, nah, I'm not doing it. So you didn't. And so for that, we thank you. So for our viewers, we have a pledge to the show. Our guest last week even and said that, it's more of a call to action. And so I'm going to read that out. And my question to you is, what do you think is the importance of this pledge, particularly for people of color in our communities? And I'll repeat the question, but just wanted to set that out there. So I'm going to read over the pledge. And our pledge is today we pledge that we will not let survivors fight alone. That upon disclosing abuse, we will not only stand in the gap in prayer, but assist in resources. We will believe and guide them through the trauma and let them know they are not alone. Today, we stand up for every survivor whose voice shakes while telling their story. For survivors who choose to heal loudly because they had to be quiet for so long. When families and the justice system fails them, we will still uplift them and help them find their worth. We pledge today to continue our work and fight for survivors.
So in the community, in the colored community anyway, we tend to think that we have to go stigma on the community. I would say, however, as I mentioned with my organization, the pearl represents um, the pearl represents the experience that another is going through, and or the pump represents the experience that another is going through, and the pearl represents the links that the links which represents everybody else who are going who surrounding that individual and helping that other one through. So everyone needs a village to help push them and them make it through. No one can go through anything alone. You can't. I don't care how you look at it. It's just you need to lean on, to crown, to wipe your tears, to wipe your snot, whatever it is. In the society that we live in, you need a support system. It's unfortunate that it's not the society. You know, that's not the society, but it's just what it is. You know, so it's because we can't go through ourselves. Realizing that you try to find a safe space. Sometimes that's hard. So in doing that, where as organizations like myself, or even you all allow to air out platforms, to let people know about organizations, so that people would know about this stuff, so that they do know that they have a safe place. I can go to this organization and I know that they'll keep my information safe, or I can go to these people and I know that they'll keep my information safe. It's hard because people be like, well, I can't go to this so and so. They just ask my business, or I can't go to, and it's hard because that's just the reality. I think that was it for that part. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Well, thank you, LaShawndra. Number one, sorry for my dilatory conduct. Technical difficulties today just seems to be the word.
Okay.
But I am so happy that you're here and sharing your story and what you are doing in the community to help the youth. And so with that being said, we know it takes a team, as you mentioned, a village, to an effort to combat the problems and the pain that our youth are experiencing these days. So do you partner with any other organizations at the moment?
We currently, as we are getting back up and running, we don't have any partnerships, but we are open to partnership. We believe that we can't do it on our own. It takes a village. If we got this side on lock, somebody else can have this side on lock. So I believe that, once we cohese and we got the same goal, we can move forward in Jesus' name.
Right.
That's just where I stand with that. So if anyone is looking to, please connect with me. I am open.
Awesome.
Excellent. And so, with that, I can definitely relate to mentorship in a number of ways. I've been a mentor in my profession as a teacher, working with new teachers, and I've been mentored on the flip side, starting into my career, along with having people to support me as mentors in my personal life as well. And so, with that, are there any particular stories that you can share with us for some of your mentees?
I'll share one in particular, and of course, I won't share names and
Mhm.
obviously details of the situation. But I had the girls at this particular slumber party. I had the girls write on the board something traumatic that they've encountered, and we reminisced, and all of the girls went around and they were actually talking about. They began to open up about what happened. And before I knew it, the whole room, when I say not a dry eye in the room, this was something that the girls hadn't opened up about because they hadn't felt comfortable. There was nobody to listen. And now they know that this was a safe place. And I let each girl take the center of the room as I went down the line. Who wrote this? Who wrote this? And I had them write it on the dry erase board as we went around the room. And it was kind of a moment of healing for them because they were able to comfort each other going through this moment. Although we all was in there crying and snotting, passing tissue, wiping each other's tears, but it was a moment that needed to happen
Yeah.
because it was a moment they hadn't encountered before.
And I
So
mean,
oftentimes we realize, we can go and cry in our mother's arms, and we can go, for me, I had my, I was able to encounter that with some of the girls can't, so it's just realizing that everybody was not that fortunate. So that moment for me, um, and then realizing even the girls come back now, just be like, thank you. It's often it's that little thing like that just feels me that push and be like, okay, all right, God, thank you. And I just be like, all right, well, thank you, God.
and it's funny how what seems to be such small moments are those big ones that really just push forward. It can really just explode for what it's worth in a young lady's life, to allow her, like you said, to not just say aloud what she couldn't say somewhere else, but to feel safe, because that's the key, to
Yeah.
feel safe to do it. And
Hmm.
then to not be alone in the room, like where you took the time for everyone to have their moment of
Yeah.
sharing. And usually once you get that first one going, because that's usually the hardest one,
Yep.
is the first one. And once
Yeah.
you get that first story out and everybody, okay, that might have been tough, but not as hard as I thought. Then you really get everything going and you get those connections and those emotions. And that thank you, that says a lot. People again don't necessarily think so much about the power of a thank you.
Yeah.
There's a power in that.
Yeah.
So now, what encouraging word can you give for young people who may be lost and are looking for a mentor?
When looking for a mentor, first and foremost, you need to look for someone who holds you accountable. You need to look for someone who is a good listener. Look for someone who's passionate. You need to look for some empathy. Look for someone who's honest. Don't want anyone just telling you because this is you because y'all are cool. Um, you need to look for someone who has respect, someone who has great communication skills, and someone who is an expert in what your interest is. You all have to be able to cohere some sort of way. Um, in my experience, um, there was you can have a couple of components, but then you may clash in in another area, and sometimes you may have to switch it up because all the time they not gonna check off every box, but you need to know what's important for you because at the end of the day, accountability is important for me. Having somebody that is honest is important for me. Those sorts of things. So you need to go through the list and honestly check off the things that are important for you and then move forward. And when you're in search of that, because it's like, I don't want her just because she my best friend, auntie, and I know that she got a good job, like she could. You got to be careful in your search because she may be the wrong person to take you down the wrong path and give you all the wrong resources. And then you got to make sure you don't run into people who are envious of what you're trying to get to. Those kind of encounters come as well. So you just got to be careful.
Yeah. Just to piggyback off of what you were saying, when we talk about a village, and then when we talk about reaching out to those who we feel can assist us or guide us along the way, we have to be willing to be honest and open ourselves if we really want the help. Like you said before, don't start asking for things and saying you want help and you need people in your life, but then you close up, clam up, and choose not to go through the process of getting the help that you need. So as a young youth, they're all over the place sometimes. And then sometimes they know exactly what they want and don't want. And here at Open Letters to a Survivor, we are always open and encouraging people to reach out and get the help that they need. If it's a close person that they trust, go in and get them to guide them and to help them along the way. And for the youth, we just want to encourage them. Friends is cool, but sometimes your friends can't really get you where you need to go. And you really need to find a mentor who is doing what you want to do, or who is speaking the language that you understand, or who gives you the feeling of security and safety and trust and honesty and respect. So what you have going on, LaShawndra, is amazing. Your organization is doing wonderful things. I know you personally as someone who is an advocate. You will stand in the gap for somebody, and you will speak up and speak out. And that's what young folks need to be looking for, a mentor who will definitely cover them, protect them, and speak for them. So your organization is definitely on the rise in doing those things for our young people. And I commend you and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Our show.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And so, LaShawndra, I am going to close out with our last question, and that is, what's next for your organization, and how can we reach you?
Next, we are actually planning for the girls coming up in February. The school is about to get a little hectic. School is schooling. um, a Galentine's Day outing for the girls. I actually got two of my leaders within the group, the girls. They're the older two. I placed them with some tasks to kind of plan. So we're going to do Valentine's Day. And then that I want them to do a cooking class. Um, and so that they can learn some stuff. They need to learn how to cook. The women got to know how to cook. um, we are going to go and make, we're going to go and make flower bouquets. And then I think candles. I haven't fully figured it out. All of the details have not come together yet, but they've been dropping ideas left and right, and so I'm like excited to see those to come. Um, they did mention they are looking forward to another tea party, so that is something that is in the works. So I am just looking forward to planning and more planning and um, mingling with the women and pouring into the girls and women. It just gives me so much strength. Like I said, I didn't realize that. That's when I realized that's what I was called to do. Honestly, when I was in my pit and that's where I got strength from. And I can be reached. My personal cell phone is 216-370-2564. My Pumps and Pearls line is 216-848-5791. My personal email is LaShawndra S. The Pumps and Pearls email is pumpsandpearls1227@gmail.com. And then the Pumps and Pearls Instagram is pumpsandpearls1227.
Awesome. And we should probably have that information on Open Letters to a Survivor as well. So if you all didn't get that just this moment, you can always reach out to us and we'll send you that information. And If no one else has any other questions for LaShawndra, you can stick around to the end of the show, or we can bid you farewell, whichever you choose.
I appreciate you all for having me again.
Hey, I think it was amazing. I want to personally say thank you to you as well. I usually engineer the show, so I'm usually not on the show, but it really was a pleasure to be on here and to talk to you and to learn more about your programs that you offer, and just to see that your life and your journey really mirrors that of so many people. So it's really beautiful that you're doing what you do. And I really believe that the world thanks you for what it is that you're doing. So congratulations on everything that you're doing.
Yeah.
And we definitely need to keep up with you. So I'm sure the ladies will want to have you on again sometime or another, whenever it works for you. And we truly appreciate you.
Thank you.
More than likely, we'll be in touch with you for future events that we're going to be doing. We'll definitely have to have you on our podium for discussion. We're working on our tea for next year as well. So we'll definitely be in touch.
All right, well, just let me know.
All right.
All righty. Well, again, thanks for having me, ladies and gentlemen. I definitely think I am grateful for the opportunity, and I look forward to hearing from you all.
And speaking for our host, Lady Poet, forgiving her for her absence right now as she's taking some much needed rest, but she is very excited about you. When she looked into your bio, she was just like, oh, she's amazing. We have to connect with her. So she says thank you as well. She's very excited for our connection, and we look forward to working with you in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you all again.
Thank
All
you,
right,
LaShawndra.
love. Take care.
Too.
So we're going to move right along to our normal business, our spotlight. Next month, September 16th, our very own Tim Stevens will launch his accessory line called Righteous Brothers. Check it out today at right.brothers 216 on Instagram. And you can look right, feel right, and stay right. And to get your business on our spotlight, please contact us by way of email to openletterstoasurvivor@gmail.com. And in the subject line, put spotlight.
Thank
Now,
God I was on mute. I said, why do you have to laugh out loud?
what? That his you call that his line for his company. I just love it.
Yeah.
So it cracks me up every time. Look right, feel right, stay right.
Right. Yeah. So now we bringing Mr. Timmy in right now, right?
Right after I do our let's go to therapy.
Oh, okay, go ahead. I thought I missed something because I was laughing at Cassandra. So I'm like, oh shoot, am I supposed to be bringing it in?
Go ahead on, Kayla.
This is why we need therapy, okay? So check out Belinda Williams with Cleveland Health and Wellness Center, specializing in trauma. We've all experienced some form of trauma in our lives, and we just need to get a little therapy for it. So please email today at belinda@chawc.org. And then we have Dr. Shamara Hutchins with a flexible approach to therapy. Basically, they customize their time based upon your availability, and they are serving our people in trauma as well. And she is the creator of the Melanated Minds Network. And you can look for Mindologist on all social media platforms. And to get on Let's Go to Therapy segment, please email us at openletterstoasurvivor@gmail.com. And in the subject section, let's just put Let's Go to Therapy, and we'll contact you to get your information on our Let's Go to Therapy section.
All right. And then I'm just going to go ahead so we can close out with that motivational minute and do our sponsorship spot. So we are looking for sponsors to support the show so that, as Caleb mentioned before, we can expand beyond just the work that we're doing here in the platform. And so we're requesting that if you are able or know someone who's able to do so, to please be a catalyst for change. Your sponsorship of Open Letters to a Survivor will enable us to provide crucial mental health resources and support to people in communities of color. Help us bridge the gap and create a future where those who need have access to the care they need. To become a sponsor, you can simply email us at openletterstoasurvivor@gmail.com and in the subject line, put in sponsor. And so now we're going to move on to our motivational minutes with Tim Stevens.
Mr. Tim, Mr. Tim, Mr. Tim.
Hey, how you all doing?
We are
Okay.
out.
Okay. All
Can
right.
everybody hear me?
We hear you and we see you.
We see you.
Yeah,
Looking fly on this
it's a
Sunday.
little hot today.
You gotta go back to Cat Daddy. Put the hat and the glasses back. Love it. Love it.
Right.
That's right. Represent that
Oh,
brand,
thank you.
Tim. Represent that brand.
He finna be selling them ties, man.
I like that you I like that. Huh?
I said you finna be selling them ties, man. You ain't playing.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a whole line of ties. I like that you all like the slogan as well.
Yes.
Yes.
But
What you got for us tonight,
but
Tim?
today I'm just gonna encourage everyone to continually be a blessing. Don't just serve yourself. I encourage everybody serve others. That's all I've been hearing today. I went to 2 worship services today, and that's the main thing that was preached out. Serve others, be a witness for Jesus, and continually be a blessing. We got to continually encourage one another. We can't just encourage ourselves. Once we get ourselves in order, that's when we got to continually be a blessing. We ought to continually walk by faith and not by sight. But as we walking by faith and not by sight, we ought to walk with the purpose. We ought to apply that work within our faith. As it says in the first chapter of James, without faith, without good works is dead. So true. We can't just say, well, pray. Well, I'm praying for you. Can't just say, well, yeah, I got faith in this. You got faith in it, but are you going to do the work? Let's do the work together. Let's help one another out. Let's help build one another up. And let's continually not just help build one another up, let's help build our communities up as well. As last week I went to Richland. I always go to Richland periodically to help minister to the inmates at the prison. And the main thing that we was talking about is standing on our beliefs. If you believe in something, if you really believe and trust in something, nothing can stop you. Nothing can break what you believe in. So as I say that, as you helping build up one another and helping being a great servant, being a blessing to one another, nobody can break you from where you going, from what you doing, from what you're trying to achieve. We all have to do something. You can't just sit back and do nothing. As the saying says, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So I encourage you all, let's be a blessing. Let's help one another out. And let's continually be about our Father's business, be about the kingdom's business as well. But the main thing, find something that you're good at, that you believe in, and push forth and continually push forth. Don't just do it for yourself. Continually do it for others as well. Because we all need somebody. As I sang the song before, we all need each other to survive. We can't do this on our own. We need everybody else. We need encouragement. We need great people within our lives, and we have to be great people for others as well. You never know who's in need, so I just think motivational men, and continually be a blessing, continually be a great servant for others, and continually help build each other up. Don't tear nobody down, but let's build each other up. As I'm blessed that the Lord gave me this vision to start my own brand, starting off with men's accessories with selling ties, and I'm doing that to help build our communities up just by that little seed. And I'm encouraged, and I need to encourage you all to continually be a blessing for others. As I see a lot of people starting great businesses, that's great, but I encourage everyone, don't just do it for the money. Don't do it for the money. Do it because you're helping your community out. Do it because that'll be a great blessing for the community, not just for your household, but for the community as well. So that's my motivational minute. Stay encouraged, and let's be a blessing for others and help build one another up. And God bless you, and God keep you.
Amen. 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 And as we're talking about building one another up, before we get off, I want to, as a team, for us to wish James, our tech, a happy birthday. Woo!
Happy
Happy
birthday!
birthday, my
Happy
brother.
birthday! You know it's your birthday. Happy birthday!
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. It's tomorrow, but I appreciate that though. I really do. Um, yeah, I appreciate that. Thank y'all.
You
Happy
welcome.
birthday!
Happy birthday.
I didn't have my horn, otherwise I'd blow it for you.
We'll just make it.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I really love working with you all, and this is a really really good experience. And to the effect of what Tim has been expounding upon in his word today. You have to do things because it's helping somebody else and it's helping the community. And I mean, definitely helping yourself, but you have to do something that's going to help the world and
Right.
help our culture, help us as a people. So, doing this with you ladies, if it was about money, I probably wouldn't be doing it. So, I mean, it's not about the money piece of it all. It's about, having that peace of mind of just doing something that you love and doing something that just doesn't take a whole lot of effort because you love doing it. And I'm really enjoying this. I think that the show gets better and better and better with each week, and it's going to continue getting better. And Amanda need to get her tail off of that beach and come on back. We could we're not playing with. I know you watching Lady Poet. I know you watching Lady Poet, and I know you got something to say about that government. But hey, sue me. Just you need to get on off that beach, Lady Poet. Come on back.
Well, that's an idea. One of our shows, we're gonna have to film on the beach.
You know what? I'm with that. I am absolutely with that. And it's funny you say that. It's funny you say that because I actually do. I do want to work on creating some ways where, if everybody's in the same place, we can film outside and we can do that sort of thing. So I think it's possible. I think it's definitely coming. And, we're doing some things that is really innovative. But, one of the things that I really wanted to do with this company is really build upon the ways that you can do a lot of this stuff virtually without having to be in somebody's studio all the time. So like, I love what you ladies and what you, Tim, are doing with this show and with this brand. Like, I think it's really amazing, and it's making Lady Poet, her name is, it's making her so happy because this is her dream too, to have this. And the cool thing, I can't go into a whole bunch of detail, but I have some celebrities who are kind of on board to come on the platform who have dealt with some mental health issues. So that's going to be coming down the line too. Actually very, very soon. Like, I have somebody right now that we're.
Well, don't tell all the secrets to our viewers, James.
That's why I ain't said nothing.
Just look.
I forgot we're still live.
I ain't said nothing.
Right. So thank you all for viewing and
But they do need to know that little bit, though. But they do need to know that little bit so that they got a reason to come
and
back.
they got a little bit. They got a
Giving
little
a
bit.
peekaboo.
That's
Just
all
a
they need.
peekaboo.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
So thank you all again for viewing the show this evening. Please like, share, and subscribe. And we will see you next Sunday. Good night.
Night.
God bless you.